Recordings in progress. Nama Om Vishnu Badaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasisha Sunyavadi Pashtatada Satanine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, here we go. Share it. It's good to share things. My mother always used to tell me, share it with your sister. And I would reluctantly have to agree.
And not just the sister.
Okay, so where are we? Yes, so Gopakumar, he has arrived in Vaikuntha. And he's had darshan of the Lord of Vaikuntha. And he goes in, as he often does, he goes into great ecstatic swoon of ecstasy, being in association of the Lord, who he's been searching for a long time. So he kind of swoons in great ecstasy. Then, and there's many associates of the Lord who are surrounding him. And Uddhava comes and he lifts Gopakumar up to his knees and out of his swoon, and he tries to calm him. And the Lord greets Gopakumar with great affection. And interestingly, do you know when devotees meet each other? What's one of the first things we normally say? How's your health?
Mm.
I don't know how many times, every time I meet a devotee, that question is always there. How's your health? Because it is important for devotees. So Krishna greeted Gopakumar like that. How's your health? so it must be bona fide. Yeah. So then gradually the Lord or all his associates depart. And then the Lord goes into his inner chambers. So all of his associates, they all depart from the assembly hall. Then the Lord goes into his inner chambers and he brings Gopakumar along. And he's followed by his queens. And that's where we're picking it up here. Yeah, we read up to text 24 last week. So 23 and 23's name, you can see here the different queens, some of them. Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambavati, and Kalindi, and Mitravinda, and Satya, Bhadra, and Lakshmana. These would be the 8 principal queens, is it? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, these are the 8 principal queens. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, what page are we on? Is it?
Well, if you have a hard copy, we're on.
25.
If someone has a hard copy, can tell Mohini Gopika.
25. Page
So
25.
Page 25, okay. Yeah. So let's pick it up then from text 25. And I remember last week, a part of the discussion was different associates of the Lord. Some may be serving more intimately and closer to the Lord, if you want to use the word physically, while some may be at a distance, but still the experience is very personal. And even if one is serving the servants of the servants of the servants from a distance, then it's actually it's also described that can be more of a intimate experience. So things don't run on the normal laws of the material world in regards to Krishna and his devotees and service to him. So anyway, without further ado, Modern Mongol, you have your hand up. You can take us into this reading by reading text 25. And we're just doing English here.
Yeah. 25, let's see. Text 25. With these two mothers and all these queens surrendering him shyly, the Lord entered his palace, followed also by several groups of young sons, who added to the splendor of that procession. Within his palace, he concealed the emotions he was feeling, and with apparent pleasure, he sat down on the best of thrones. Translation, I think, a commentary, yeah? Last in the procession that entered the Lord's quarters were his sons, led by Shri Pradyumna and Samba. Upon entering, Krishna hid the agitation he felt, brought on his vividly remembering Gokula, and sat down on his throne to satisfy his mother, Devaki, and the queens, but especially to put Gopal Kumar in a good mood. He outwardly appeared happy, Krishnavat, and in any case, having Gopal Kumar with him was almost as good as being back in Gokula, and so he had reason to be happy.
Yeah, so this is why the Lord's overcome with great appreciation for Gopal Kumar. Also because he brings spontaneous remembrance of Gokula, what the Lord never forgets. But still, Gopal Kumar is like a udipan for remembrance of that special place, you know. So the Lord's having to calm himself. Okay, continue with 26.
But I saw the Lord appearing before me, as if adorned by the company of Shri Yashoda and all the beautiful young gopis and many young cowherd boys. Seeing the object of my meditation, holding my flute in his hand, I again fainted, overwhelmed by delight. Commentary. In his meditation, Gopal Kumara had always worshipped Srimadan Gopaladeva, who unlike Lord Krishna is Dvarka, always carried his flute. But now Krishna has just taken Gopal Kumar's flute in his hand and was still holding it. That peculiar circumstances set off a special ecstasy in Gopal Kumar, a mood in which he saw Devaki as Mother Yashoda, Krishna's queens as gopis, and the Lord's son like Pradyumna and Samba as young cowherd boys. In Gopakumara's rapture, Krishna's own beautiful remnants unchanged, and so
We remain unchanged. Yeah.
it remains unchanged. And so did of Shri Balaram's mother, Rohini, who has the same personality in both Vrindavan and Dwarka. The only feature of Krishna's that differed here in Dwarka was the sacred Yajna Pavita thread given to him by Sandipani Muni at the time of his initiation, but this thread was concealed by Krishna's upper cloth.
Amazing details given, isn't it? By Sanatana Goswami. Yes. You can read on.
Then Nanda's Nandana himself, his mind moved by abundant compassion, quickly got up, and by the powerful touch of his lotus hand, he brought me back to consciousness and carefully cleaned the limbs of my body. Commentary. Though he be a powerful prince in Dwarka, Krishna is always the same Nanda Nandana, the darling son of Nanda Maharaj, and all the cowherds of Raj. His prime concern is always to keep the devotees of Raj happy. Therefore, he could not help but feel anxious for Gopal Kumar. Although he could have brought Gopal Kumara back to consciousness simply by his omnipotent desire. Krishna wanted to take personal care of him. They moved the page. It was now lunchtime, but the Lord didn't feel like eating. Only at the insistence of his mother did he perform his noontime duties. Commentary. The pain of separation Krishna felt from remembering Gokula spoiled his appetite, but his mother Not only Devaki, but also Vasudeva's several other wives wouldn't let him go without eating. First, however, he took his noontime bath and performed his other normal duties. The darling son of Devaki fed me something with his own hands, and only then took something himself for my satisfaction. Commentary. Devaki's dear son agreed to eat because he wanted to please his mother, but he also wanted his friends to eat, which they would do only in his presence. The Lord set his older brother down within a circle of boys and fed them just as he had before in his childhood pastimes. Commentary. In the middle of the circle of a young Yadu sat Lord Balaram, like the world of lotus in a bloom. Previously, Krishna and Balaram had enjoyed noon meals like this in Vrindavan in the company of the cowherd boys, amid clever conversations and laughter. The 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 13, 11 describe those pastimes. Krishna is Yagna
The
book. Yagna book. That is, he eats only offerings of Yagya. But to exhibit his child pastimes, he now sits with his flute tucked between his waist and his tight clothes on his right side, and with his horn bangle and cow driving stick
bugle. His horn
bugle, holding in his hand a very nice preparation of yogurt and rice, with pieces of suitable fruit between his fingers. He sat like the world of a lotus, looking forward towards all his friends, personally joking with them and creating jubilant laughter among them as he ate. At that time, the denizens of heaven were watching,
struck.
struck with wonder at how the personality of Godhead, who eats only in Yagya, was now eating with his friends in the forest.
Okay,
And this
so just in case you misunderstood, just to remind that he's now quoting from Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, because
Yeah.
it's just as if it's just like that. Yeah, this is in Vaikuntha, as far as I understand, and the Lord is acting at lunchtime, sitting down, feeding his associates, just like he does in Vrindavan. Yeah, sorry, because I was confused for a few seconds. I was thinking, wow, what's being described here? Yes.
In this portrait from the 10th canto, Krishna eats with his friends instead of serving the meal, because on this day his elder brother Balaram is not present. Uddhava knew that the Lord's ecstasies very well, so he ate same of Krishna's Mahaprasad reminiscences and then took me somewhat by force to his own house. Commentary. Krishna was thinking that Gopal Kumar would not feel completely at ease in a palace filled with royal opulences. Therefore, he decided that it would be better for Gopal Kumar to stay with Uddhava at his house. Since Uddhava had a unique affinity with the residents of Vraj, Uddhava knew what the Lord was thinking without the Lord's having to say anything. So as soon as Uddhava ate some of Krishna reminiscences, he took Gopal Kumar with him, without so much as a word. Since Gopakumara was still dazed, Uddhava had to drag him away.
I don't know, that dragging along the floor, I think perhaps just putting his arm around his waist and taking him to his house. Yeah, so this is interesting that Uddhava's Gopakumar is feeling the ecstasies of Raj, and so is Krishna. But they are in opulent, they're in the opulence of Vaikuntha, in a great palace of royalty with many servants and great opulence. So
Prabhu, I think they are in Dwarka.
Dwarka.
He left Vaikuntha to go to Dwarka.
Yeah, you're right. It's Dwarka. Yeah, I was thinking that as I was saying that. Yeah, you're right. So excuse me. So Dwarka, he's in the great city of Dwarka. Yeah, thank you. Okay, you can continue through.
Yeah.
Another couple of verses, then we'll call on someone else to read.
Only then did I completely return to normal consciousness, reflecting on what I had seen happen. I danced for a long time and then begin to think. Commentary. In the morning, normal. In the more normal
In the more
situation,
normal.
in the more normal situation of Uddhava's house, Gopakumar was able to gather his thoughts. He was delighted to have the opportunity to be with Krishna and his devotees there in Dwarka.
There it is in Dwarka. Hare Krishna. Okay. Can read the next one, then we'll call on someone else to read from 34 onwards.
Yeah. I said to myself, indeed, today I have achieved the ultimate perfection of all my desires. For with my very eyes I have seen the hero of Raj with all his attractive charms, that same person upon whom I have always meditated in my heart. Commentary. This is the form of the absolute truth that for so long had filled Gopal Kumar's heart in his meditation, the audacious enjoyer of Rajabhumi, who attracts his devotees in countless ways.
Audacious.
Gopal
Audacious means? What does audacious mean?
That's Labanga's job.
I think it means daring.
Daring, yeah. It means, yeah, daring, audacious, going forward or audaciously, yeah, daring. Yeah, it's a nice description of Krishna, the audacious enjoyer of Rajbhumi, daring, in his escapades to meet with the gopis.
showing a willingness to take surprisingly bold risks.
Yeah, showing a willingness to take surprisingly bold risks. That certainly describes Krishna in Vrindavan.
Reading this, I was just thinking a while back, I don't know when, I was thinking that it's too difficult to go back to Goloka Vrindavan. And I was thinking, oh, well, maybe Dwarka or something should be quicker to get. Because, and Krishna is beautiful. And you read all the descriptions of Krishna and Dwarka, Krishna and, Vaikunthas and things like that. Then I said, well, then I took to my mind, said, come on, don't even think like that, get that out of your head.
Well, perhaps as we read, when we start reading about actual Goloka, then we will feel attraction to the sweetness. This is the idea, because hearing about Krishna is very wonderful and it's very nice. And when we hear about Krishna in Dwarka, it's very beautiful description, how he's worshipped and his different devotees, how they worship him with great reverence and affection. But then as we're going to hear about Krishna, as we are hearing to some degree, but we will hear more, hopefully we'll become attracted to that description more, So let's...
His caring mood, how he cared for Gop Kumar.
Yeah, in a very, very loving, personal way. Yeah. Okay, so we're on text 34. Anyone like to read? Or
I can read a couple of sloks.
go on. Okay, you can read just 35 and just 34. Go on, go ahead.
34, right?
Yeah.
The next day I went with Uddhava and saw my Lord, but I was so besides myself with delight that I was unable to do more than that. Commentary. On that second day, Gop Kumar was still so disoriented by the ecstasy of the new state of affairs that he was unable to render any service other than taking darshan of Krishna.
All right. So
35 to 36. While residing there in Dwarka, I constantly, abundantly received Lord Krishna's wonderful mercy. I tasted such a flood of supreme ecstasy that no one could tell of it in words or even think of it within the mind, nor not even a pure devotee of Lord with a lifetime of Brahma. Commentary. The glories of Krishna in Dwarka are surely beyond the comprehension of the greatest scholars and mystic yogis. Only rarely can even surrendered devotees approach those glories with the mind or words. Text 7. The happiness found in liberation is said to be supreme. Multiplied many millions of times, it might be said to equal the joy of Vaikuntha. And if any joy still greater can be conceived, it is that which is found in Ayodhya. But the joy born in Dwarka, how can anyone even begin to describe it? Commentary. The devotees of impersonal liberation consider the nullifying of material existence the highest possible perfection. It is happiness greater than any other. Then they are unaware of the existence of a transcendental world in which there is a happiness much greater. Although the Vaishnavas openly proclaim that happiness to anyone willing to hear, among the Vaishnavas, those with specially fine powers of discrimination know and describe an even greater happiness, which is found in Lord Ramachandra's kingdom of Ayodhya. But no one's power of logic can surmise the super excellent degree of happiness realized by Krishna and his companions in Dwarka.
That's where Gopal was just before he came to Dwarka, isn't it? If we remember, he was in Ayodhya.
Ayodhya, yeah.
Yeah.
Even there, they explain how Lord Ramachandra is so beautiful,
Yeah.
You know?
And that, yeah, is quite unique, even in comparison to the Vaikuntha planets, is Lord Ram in Ayodhya. Yes. And it's said that that Lord Ram is considered to be is considered to have the same opulences as Krishna. Interestingly. Yeah. Continue, yeah.
Powerful thinkers have studied the Vedas and pondered the supreme happiness of liberation. But thinkers with still finer intelligence recognize that the happiness of impersonal liberation is nothing but the absence of material misery. And so there must be something greater, namely the happiness of Vaikuntha. They presume, moreover, that the ultimate limit of happiness lies in Vaikuntha, because otherwise they would face the logical flow of an endless regress of different degrees of happiness. Be that as it may, in the spiritual abode of Ayodhya, the Supreme Lord's servants have such exclusive devotion for him and such determination to satisfy him with their service that the happiness there is palpably greater than that of Vaikuntha. Even better, however, is the happiness of Dwarka. No speculators can find a methodology to analyze it, but it exists nonetheless. It is not a mere creation of devotees' sentiments, for many reliable authorities have perceived it for themselves.
Perhaps we can get some appreciation of why this material world is called Dukhaletaya Ashashvatam. It's full of misery. Because these places are full of bliss. They're full of happiness. The experience of being free of anxiety and being full loving devotion to the Lord, where there is no trouble, there is no difficulty. Yeah, so that's why this material world is can be easily be seen in comparison to these places as being temporary and therefore full of misery. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that he doesn't want us to hang around here. He wants to he's telling us about, here we're hearing Sanatana Goswami is telling us about these abodes, which exist. So it kind of highlights this nature of this material world. Yeah, the characteristic is unending bliss and happiness. It's definitely not to be found here. Okay, you
I
can
was
continue.
thinking how
Yeah.
when Dhruv Maharaj saw Vishnu, before that he was thinking what he wanted, and after seeing Vishnu, it completely changed, And the same with when when Lord Nrsimha, they put his hand on Prahlad Maharaj's head, whatever little bit of desires or whatever there, it's all gone. So can you imagine, like, you are directly in front of the Lord Ram, Lord.
Yeah,
Imagine
that's an
how you feeling, or how, no anasas or anything, no desires,
yeah. Also, when the Lord appears, the whole atmosphere of Vaikuntha or Dwarka or whatever abode, it appears there with the Lord, and one is engulfed in that experience. Even often, I think always the Lord appears with his associates. But still, your point is to be taken. Okay, the Lord appeared to Dhruva within this material realm.
Mm.
He appeared for some time, and then he became unmanifest.
Yeah.
And that left an impression of great ecstatic remembrance, no doubt, in the heart of Dhruva. But imagine being in that place. This is the point I think Mother Chandravalli is making. You're actually in that place where he actually resides.
Mm.
And there's no time. It's the ever present, and you're constantly, ever increasingly appreciating the Lord's unlimited qualities. So the experience must be, you could say, extra special other than when the Lord appears, because generally the Lord appears to his devotee in the material world, and then he disappears. So he's preparing them. He's creating a hankering in their heart to actually enter his abode. So the Lord comes, appears, and then disappears. But imagine being in that abode. Well, imagine we're hearing a description of it here now.
Mm.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. All right, perhaps I'll have a little read from here. So, indeed, no faculty of mind. Did we read this? No, we
No,
didn't.
that's it, yeah.
Yeah. Indeed, no faculty of mind or speech can grasp the joy a resident of Dwarka feels from having gained the only Lord of his life after a long time yearning to see him. Yeah, because there be Nityasiddhas, then there be many those who have attained perfection, who are coming into that place of eternity. So they been endeavoring for perhaps many lifetimes. So when they come to have darshan of the Lord, that's what's been described here. Yeah.
I was just thinking, Murari Gupta, who is incarnation of
Hanuman.
Yeah, Lord Ram. Can you imagine when he goes to Ayodhya, what feeling he's going to have, back home?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, the ecstasy of devotee, because as far as I understand, Murari Gupta, I mean, I might be mistaken, but it wasn't as if Murari Gupta was fully conscious that he was Hanuman.
No, I don't think he would.
He wasn't, but he would feel the ecstasy of attachment for Ram, just like Hanuman.
Mm.
Because unbeknownst to him, that he's his constitutional position. It's quite amazing how the Lord's yogamaya potency.
Mm.
Yeah. So therefore he experienced, and when he's obtains the Lord, yes, he's in great appreciation, great ecstatic appreciation. Right. So indeed, no faculty of mind or speech can grasp the joy a resident of Dwarka feels from having gained the only Lord of his life after a long time, yearning to see him. Only those whose minds are fit can know that joy. Commentary. Persons with strong intelligence but weak faith in devotional service to Krishna may doubt whether happiness greater than found in Ayodhya can exist. But although such doubters may be unable to know the happiness of Dwarka, what right do they? Oh, it's disappeared. What happened there? What right do they have to declare it non-existent? There are other more qualified persons who know the taste of it, even though words and the mind can hardly comprehend the transcendental bliss known by the Dwarkavasis. It has been described with logical supporting arguments for the benefit of Krishna's aspiring worshippers. Yeah, just as we're describing, yeah? For the benefit of us aspiring worshippers to fortify our enthusiasm for unalloyed devotional service. Just as the devotees of Ayodhya taste greater happiness in their intimate moods of service than the Narayana Bhaktas of Vaikuntha, the devotees of Dwarka enjoy happiness still greater because they are personally connected to Krishna in the mood of friendship. And when we extend this thinking a step further, we can understand that the happiness of Goloka, resting as it does on the topmost prema, known only there, is still greater, and no happiness is greater. Okay. So you can imagine the so-called, as was, well, we cannot imagine, but in comparison to the so-called happiness of just impersonal liberation. It doesn't. This is the point that Sanatana Goswami is making here. There is no comparison. It's not even worth speaking about comparing it. You know, the happiness of liberation compared to the happiness of Vaikuntha, compared to the happiness of Ayodhya, then compared to the bliss of Dwarka, and then compared to the bliss experience in Goloka. Yeah. So text 39. Although I had lived some time there in Dwarka, some best of the divine Yadavas, sorry, moving things around here, said something to me. Their hearts melted with eagerness to see everyone in the world happy within and without. Commentary. What Gopakumar is speaking to his disciple, okay, now we've been reminded again. He's speaking with his spiritual master at this point. While what Gopakumar is speaking to his, Gopakumar is speaking to his disciple.
Yeah.
It's not merely theoretical. Because remember, his disciple was chanting the Gopal mantra, and then he met Gopakumar, who's also went on this whole journey by chanting the Gopal mantra. And he's now telling this person, his disciple, his experiences. What Gopakumar is speaking to his disciple is not merely theoretical. While residing in Dwarka, Gopakumar had tasted enough of Dwarka's unique happiness to rightfully claim knowledge of it. On one occasion during his stay, he had been approached by some concerned residents who only wanted the greatest possible happiness for everyone, both externally in the form of good food, clothing and ornaments, and other means for enjoyment, and internally in the form of the priceless treasure of prema and its ecstasies. Okay?
So,
Yeah.
prema is there in Dwarka.
Yeah, love is there, But it's compared to, but in comparison to in comparison to the love in Goloka, sometimes it's described it's crippled.
Okay.
It's crippled by faults of the, it's crippled by awe and reverence, but still it's love. But it's not like the love exhibited by the residents of Vrindavan. That's what's the name of that special? We should know that. Kevala Bhakti, Ananda Bhakti. Yeah, that's a special love which is in Goloka, but still, as it's correct. Yeah, still they love the Lord. Okay, text 40. The divine Yadavas said, "Dear friend, you have come to this place which is more full in supreme splendor than even Vaikuntha, and you are now our companion. We think it hardly fitting that you continue to dress like a miserable forest dweller." So they wanted to dress like quite snazzy. I guess they must dress quite snazzy in Vaikuntha compared to a forest dweller. Let's see Gopalkumar's reaction. Text 41. This troubles our minds, so please take on our type of dress and looks, which are naturally available to anyone who lives here. Commentary. The citizens of Dwarka know only the highest constant ecstasy, but these devotees felt a little unhappy to see Gopalkumar in an apparently wretched condition. By nature, they were intolerant of even the outward semblance of misery. Gopalkumar should not wonder where to get the right dress and capabilities for enjoying like a Dwarkavasi, because the very atmosphere of Dwarka readily provides these to any resident who wants them. I think it was in Vaikuntha as well that he was asked something similar, but he preferred to keep his dress, preferred to keep his cowherd boy vesh. So here, let's see what he says here. Sri Gopalkumar said, even though these Yadavas insisted I stayed like a poor, simple devotee, because in their dress I would not have been able to taste the special mood that appealed to my mind and to Lord the tutors. Yeah, so the Lord is very happy to be reminded of Goloka by seeing Gopalkumar dressed as a cowherd boy. Yeah, so appeals to his mind and to the Lord's mind. Yeah. Gopalkumar preferred to stay inferior to these prominent Yadavas. To him, more important than keeping up appearances was protecting his personal rasa with Krishna. 43. I then became shy and feared to go near the personality of Godhead when he was seated in his court and being served by his transcendental opulences. To maintain his unbroken inner mood of service, Gopalkumar declined to follow the Yadavas' suggestion that he change his dress. But this further disturbed his heart. Now that the matter had been brought to his attention, he began to feel uncomfortable about the appearance. So you could say he's feeling a little self-conscious now about how he's dressed. He began to feel uncomfortable about appearing before Lord Krishna in the assembly hall. He thought his own appearance would be incongruent, means to be odd, and was apprehensive that he might do something wrong. Remember when he was in Vaikuntha, he wanted to go and embrace the Lord?
Yeah.
They had to calm him down.
Yeah.
Sorry, but we don't do that type of thing here. Not only was he embarrassed, he was also daunted by the great opulence he saw in the Sudama Hall and the huge crowds of kings, sages, and demigods. Yeah, so there's thousands and thousands of people, unlimited. Yeah. His uneasiness at coming before Krishna while the Lord was seated on his throne in the royal court made Gopalkumar begin thinking again about going somewhere else. Okay. So he's the cowherd boy. It's like it's a what's the setting? It's like a village setting, isn't it? So there's not thousands of kings, there's not thousands of ministers, there's not thousands of chariots. There's just a forest and cows and lakes, and it's very intimate. So you can guess Gopakumar's feeling a bit like out of place here. Yeah, he's feeling uneasy. Yeah, there's a great hall, a great opulent hall with marble and gold and ivory and filigree and etc. And he's used to simple pastures, pasturing with the cows.
And he's dressed as a coward boy. And
Yeah,
everybody
he's
probably
got a
dressed
wooden
with
flute and
yellow silk and
probably got some type of cloth wrapped around his head, and perhaps a dhoti or I don't know, a gumshoe. I don't know, but dhoti. Yeah. Sometimes I would see the Lord with 4 hands. I couldn't always see the special pastimes he performs in Brajbhumi. When devotees like Rukmini, when Sri Rukmini were present, Gopakumar found it difficult to envision Krishna as he is in his Vrindavan pastimes. When the Lord was talking with Narada, Muni, or Arjuna, Gopakumar could hardly see him tending his cows. Okay. Sometimes Gopakumar could see him as if in Vrindavan, but not often enough. So, yeah, sometimes the Lord would go alone to visit his dear friends, the Pandavas, who stayed nearby. On earth, the Pandavas lived a good distance away from Dwarka in Hastinapura, so Krishna had to make a long journey to meet them. In Vaikuntha, however, the situation is different. Even if the residences of the Pandavas is physically distant from Dwarkapuri, in the spiritual realm, there are no limitations of time and space. By the power of the Lord's desire, any place to which he wishes to travel is at once nearby. I'll read this one verse and then someone else could read. I'll just read this last verse here. And so, because of desires long held but unfulfilled, my heart would feel tormented. But when I could see his beauty and qualities once again, my heart would again become peaceful for some time. Okay. Being unable for even a short time to see Krishna's beauty and his kind behavior would throw Gopakumar into anxious turmoil. But as soon as Krishna would return, Gopakumar would recover his composure. Okay, so thank you, Maharaj Kishore. You can pick it up from here. 47.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
His nectarian words revealed his mercy. How can my tongue even touch the unique happiness they created? During the several days I spent this way in the house of Uddhava, if there were any unhappiness, I could conceal it by feigning happiness. Commentary. Because besides Krishna's occasional absence from Dwarka, another cause of anxiety for Gopkumar was the tendency to remember the land of his birth. Although being unable to see his worshipable Lord playing in the pastimes of Braj made Gopkumar unhappy, he tried hard to conceal this because he knew that the Dwarkavasis couldn't tolerate seeing anyone in pain, and also because he was reluctant to make a show of his private ecstasies. Text 49. One day I saw Narad come. I bowed down to him, and in utter joy and amazement, I spoke to him in the following way. To help Gopkumar achieve his long-cherished goal, Narad appeared at just the right moment to tell him about the glories of Sri Golok and how to achieve Golok. O Narad, best of the Lord's associates, in the guise of an exalted sage, I see you just everywhere, in the heavenly planets, in Vaikuntha, and now here, looking just the same. How fascinated I am to see this. Commentary. Inspired by the joy of seeing Narad Muni, Gop Kumar wants to hear more about the sage's glories from his own mouth and hear further details about the special powers of the Supreme Lord's associates in Vaikuntha. Powers Narad has briefly mentioned before. Thus, though Krishna, his associates, and his abode are seen in various forms in different places and in dreams and other special states of consciousness, they are with perfect consistency one, although many, and they are always real. Brhat Bhagavatamrta 2:4, 161 and 162. Narad dresses in saffron like a lifelong brahmachari, but the true extent of his glories goes far beyond strict celibacy. In the words of Gop Kumar, Narad is the best of the Supreme Lord's intimate associates. Gop Kumar is amazed that he meets Narad almost everywhere and sees him always the same, with the same veena in his hand and the same unabashed humor. But as Gop Kumar has already heard from Narad, even when Narad expands himself to be present in many different locations, he is still one and the same person. Text 51. Sri Narad said, "My dear young cowherd, surely you have always been a curious boy, and so you are even now. Haven't I explained all this to you before?" Commentary. Like Narad, Gop Kumar has his own peculiar ways. He dresses and acts like a cowherd boy regardless of where he is. Moreover, it seems curious to Narad that Gop Kumar still doubts the ability of powerful devotees of the Lord to expand themselves into multiple forms, especially since Narad has explained this truth scientifically, and Gop Kumar has seen tangible evidence of it with his own eyes. Gop Kumar may insist that he is honestly confused and not simply trying to make some game of expressing doubt. But Narad reasserts that Gop Kumar, however briefly, has already heard him elucidate the subject. Text 52. Just as the one personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, exists in many forms and many places, so also do we, his servants. Text 53. So it is with all of us, Sri Garud and other attendants, devotees like Sriman Hanuman and our friend Uddhav and others too, like these Yadavas. Commentary. Devotees like Garud and Shesh are associates of Lord in Vaikuntha, whereas Hanuman, Jambavan, and others are servants of Lord Ramchandra. Hanuman sings the glories of Lord Ramchandra in the Kim Purush Lok of the Bhulok region and simultaneously in the Ayodhya of Vaikuntha. And Uddhava, whom Gop Kumar can see right before him, is simultaneously one of the principal companions of Krishna in Dwarka on earth, along with the Yadavas, the Pandavas, and others. Considering the topic too confidential to bring up just now, Narad chooses not to mention Krishna's devotee in Sri Golok. Text 54. All the Lord's personal associates are at his hand like playthings. They are always fully dedicated to his service. Each assumes a variety of forms, yet stays essentially one, just like the Lord himself. Commentary. As Sri Krishna Chandra, the original Supreme Personality, expands himself into innumerable forms of Godhead, when required for the service to the Lord, his eternal associates can also expand themselves into many forms, perpetually dedicated to worshipping him. They are willing instruments in the enactment of his pleasure pastimes. Whatever gives the Lord happiness is also their satisfaction. So when he expands himself and his abode into all sorts of forms, they accompany him in suitably corresponding forms. Gop Kumar should therefore not be amazed that Narad appears in many places at once for the service of the Lord.
So not just Narad, all the Lord's associates, many appear at different places. Yeah, continue. Rob.
Text 55. The Lord's names, his pastimes, and his favorite abodes, and everything that has to do with his service can assume various forms. And you should know that just as all these are eternally real, each of them is simultaneously one and many. Commentary. While still on the topic of multiple expansions, Narad takes the opportunity to mention that the personality of Godhead's pastimes, his dear abodes such as Sri Mathura, and his paraphernalia like Kaustup gem and Sudarshan weapon display the same power of expansion. Here, the word Bhumi refers not only to earth, but to any location, and so indicates that spiritual realms such as Vaikunt, the Supreme Lord's personal property, his names, his pastimes, and the places of his appearance are all by nature pure Satchidananda, just as he is. Text 56. What amazes me is that you will appear like this, playfully showing your same character as before. And even here, you seem always discontent and distressed at heart. That is most astonishing to me. Commentary. Gop Kumar too is spiritually potent, so he also should be able to assume different forms in different places. Instead, however, he always remains in the same innocent cowherd boy. Even in Vaikunt and Dwarka, Narad thinks that Gop Kumar is simply playing a game, pretending to be ignorant, even though he knows the reality. This is very surprising to Narad, and even more surprising is that everywhere they have met, Narad has seen in Gop Kumar a persistent dissatisfaction shown by his downward face and disgraced glance.
And distracted glance. Yeah, so Narada Muni, he's also been present in all the places that the Gop Kumar's been present. But Narada Muni is never dissatisfied or never distracted. He kind of fits in to each place he goes, and yeah, but Gop Kumar's different. So Narada Muni's having, I don't know, it seems like having some he's trying to understand Gop Kumar. So that's why, this is being explained. Yeah, but Gop Kumar, it seems like in his innocence, doesn't quite get it. He cannot be satisfied. So Gop Kumar, a persistent dissatisfaction shown by his downturned face and distracted glance. So seems like Narada Muni is getting on his case here, if that's the right way to describe it.
But I'm just thinking, like a spiritual master sees through you. So how is it that Narad Muni can't see through Gop Kumar that he's not happy in any places because his thoughts are on Madan Mohan, Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to think that Narada Muni, that he does know, because he's going to direct him to Goloka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's a good question. Is Narada Muni doesn't understand Gop Kumar? Or perhaps he's just testing Gop Kumar? Let's see as we read on, But it's an interesting point.
Because he's saying that he doesn't understand what Gop Kumar is playing a game.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But
maybe he's not.
Sorry?
Maybe he's not allowed to see everything.
Might be the Lord's, yeah, it might be the Lord's yoga maya potency.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That something may not be made, he may not be aware in order to facilitate the Leela and the pastime. Narada is divinely unaware, actually. So therefore he is kind of highlighting Gopakumar's
Discontent.
discontent, but highlighting Gopakumar's exalted status, actually. That his ecstasy of relationship with Krishna through the Gopal mantra cannot be distracted by anything else. Nowhere else, anything else is going to distract him from his quest for what he has experienced through his Gopal mantra. Yeah. So perhaps it's just to highlight this unique qualification of Gopal Kumar. You know, oh, screen keeps disappearing. Let's have a 57. Let's have a read it. Okay, a couple of minutes left. You can carry on reading.
Okay. Text 57. Sri Gopkumar said, taking hold of Narad's feet, I bowed down and humbly told him, my lord, you know everything about this. Then Narad smiled and spoke, looking at Uddhava's face.
Yeah, so he knows about this. He's saying, you know,
Right.
but you know about this. Go on, carry on.
Commentary. Gopkumar was most grateful that Narad fully understood the cause and scope of his mind's discontent. Since Gopkumar honestly recognized his own inferior, dependent position, he bowed down and touched Narad's feet. Narad was happy to see this because it meant that Gopkumar was approaching perfection. So he smiled at Gopkumar's eagerness to receive the most confidential truth and turned to Uddhava, who would properly reveal it. Text 58 and 59. Sri Narad said, just see Uddhava, this cowherd's son, born at Govardhan, is seeking something unachievable for persons like you and me. Greatly agitated, he wanders here and there, never anywhere transcending the painful distress that is fixed in his heart. Commentary. The seeker, the son of a cowherd, has wandered all over the material and spiritual worlds, his heart full of indescribable pain, and now he has taken shelter in Uddhava's house. He has not been able to find peace because his desired goal is beyond the reach of even great Vaishnavas like Narad and Uddhava. Why Gopkumar has such an unlikely ambition, Narad explains with a phrase, Govardhanodbhava, born at Govardhan.
Okay, perhaps we'll just pause there and just finish on this point, is that this is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he is giving knowledge of and access to the same place that Gopal Kumar is heading, Goloka Vrindavan, which is not attainable by even Narada Muni. Of course, they have their eternal constitutional position, but still, they don't have the qualification to enter that place, nor does Uddhava. But Lord Chaitanya is giving us, wretches of Kali Yuga, an opportunity to obtain that place. So that's why Lord Chaitanya is always in great ecstasy, because he's giving something so great to those who are very undeserving. Inconceivable. All right, so let's pick up then from next week on text 60. All right, so a few things going on over the weekend at the manor. There's Gopal Krishna Maharaj remembrance at the manor, and there's bhajans there at the manor with His Holiness Srila Shivaram Swami, Govinda Maharaj, and Madhav as well. So probably might see some of you there. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend and look forward to next week's Krishna Katha. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Jai.
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare.